We're continuing the Maimer Lehavin Inyan Simchas Tora that the Rebbe said on Motzei Simchas Tora Tafshin Lamed Ches 1977. As we mentioned already before, this Maimer was said after the Rebbe suffered a heart attack on Shmini Atzeres night. Moreover, it was the first time in 37 years since the Rebbe accepting the leadership of Chabad that the Rebbe ever took a day off, so to speak. In 37 years, the Rebbe never left. Every single day, day in, day out, the same schedule where Chassidim knew they had Yechidus, Fabrengens, answers to letters. The Rebbe came for the tefillas, everything that there was. There was never a time I'm not feeling well or I have to go on dacha, even though great tzaddikim, including the previous Rebbeim of Chabad, also did that for spiritual reasons, where they left for a month, for 2 months, for whatever amount of times at a time. Here there wasn't one day off. So we can just imagine what that means. A Rebbe is not just a tzaddik. A Rebbe is not just a teacher. A Rebbe is the one who brings godliness, who draws down godliness to the Jewish people, especially to his Chassidim, whom he teaches, but more than that, he connects them to the godly purpose in the world. And here there's a concealment. In a similar type of situation, in a certain sense, is the day after Simchas Tora, Motzei Simchas Tora in that case, and in every case, Simchas Tora is over. We had Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Simchas Tora, we were one, we danced with the Torah, we felt the godly energy, and now we're in the world. We've fallen into the world. It's true, it's still the month of Tishrei, we still don't say Tachnun, but in a certain sense, we've already gone into the world. We see that also with the first parshas that we read. The first parsha in the Torah is Bereshis bara likimis hashamayim v'saaretz. It's parsha number 1. Parsha that talks about creation. Creation with its ups and downs. Creation with a certain condensing of the godly light to the extent that there's place for sin. But yet, a time when people feel the godly light all the time. There's Adam Arishon, the Yitzir Kap of the one who was created by God's hand. And even if there is a place for sin, yet even afterwards, he still constantly has the recognition, the communication with Hashem, and he's able to teach it to all the people in his time. At the end of Parshas Bereshis, and specifically in the next Parsha of Noach, is number 2, the second parsha in the Torah, parsha that talks about a world that ceased to recognize the truth of Hashem. A world in which people distanced themselves from Hashem to the extent that Hashem decided to destroy the world. A world that even after the great flood and one man and his family being saved, his descendants a short time later deciding to fight against Hashem and build a tower to fight against Hashem. That's the world of Parshas Noach. That world, that dark world, that's what we deal with in a sense once we finish Simchas Tora, we finish Parshas Bereshis. Now we're all head on into a physical world, into a world with all its hardships and darkness. How do we deal with it? And in order to explain this, the Rebbe asked a question, 2 questions in the beginning of the Maimer. Question number 1. Why do we celebrate Simchas Tora by dancing with a Torah with our feet? Torah should be understanding, recognizing. How do we rejoice with the Torah? Torah is understanding. Understanding about Hashem. Learning about Hashem. How do we do it with a closed Torah where we're dancing with our feet? And the similar question was the other question. Why celebrate Simchas Tora on Shmini Atzeres, on the second day of Shmini Atzeres? Why not celebrate Simchas Tora and on Shavuos when we received the Torah, when we got the Torah? And in order to explain both of those questions, the Rebbe brought the mashal of the king who had many daughters. Some of them are married far away at a distance. And it's for this reason that the king decides that while everyone's here together, it's time to make one holiday in which everyone can celebrate. What's that idea? And the Rebbe continued to explain the whole idea of the Yom Tovim of Tishrei. The oneness that's expressed in them. Let's look at that point for a moment. What does oneness mean? Oneness means Hashem, the reality, like Bereshis Bar Elikim. There's nothing else, there's only Hashem. The whole reality of the world is godliness. That's one. Then there's a world of diversity. And in fact, in the words of Chassidus, it's the difference between Makif and Pnimi. Makif, in simple meaning, means surrounding. Something that's above. What's above the world is one, is single. What's Makif, that which surrounds, which is above, which doesn't come into the separation, into the diversity of the world, is oneness. Pnimi, something which is internalized. It comes into us. It comes into our lives. Is always set with diversity, with number two, with differences, with separation. Take our neshama. There's the essence of our neshama, which is called makif, the levels of chaya, and especially the level of yechida. Yechida means one. It's one with Hashem. It's above the body. It's above the various faculties of the body. It's one with Hashem. It's one with its source. But the koiches pnimim, the internal powers, the faculties of the soul that are expressed in intellect, emotions, and especially thought, speech, action. That's where there is diversity, where there's many different aspects. When it becomes internalized, there's different aspects, but that's when it's separated, and the more differences and the more diversity there is, the more it's distance from feeling the oneness and the connection to the ultimate spiritual energy, to the ultimate godly energy, the reality of the world. Throughout the month of Tishrei, we start with Rosh Hashanah. It's one mitzvah. It's above understanding. Blow shofar, bring out the essence, express the essence. Yom Kippur is also makif. It's one Kohen Gadol in the one Kodesh HaKadoshim on the one single day of Yom Kippur. The essence of a Jew is connected with the essence of Hashem. Comes Sukkot, and it's already the next step of bringing this oneness into the world. Taking the makif, taking the sukkah that surrounds us, but yet unites us all throughout our diversity. Taking the sukkah which is in physical branches of the schach, but as a result it's able to unite every Jew in one, and go even a step further, take the four kinds that do have diversity. There's four kinds. Each one of them is made up of different aspects. Take them all together. Bring that oneness that's above and connect it and bring it down into the diversity of the world. That's what we've been doing throughout the month of Tishrei. And this is expressed more than anything else with the Esrig, which is called Hadar, because it lives on its tree. Throughout all four seasons, it unites them all, and it grows from the diversity of all the four seasons. Now the Rebbe continues that that's the idea of the four kinds, but all of this idea of taking diversity and making it one, that comes through tshuva. Tshuva is returning and connecting to the source. Take a look at the difference between the first luchos and the second luchos. The first luchos, Moshe Rabbeinu needed 40 days in order to receive them. It was bringing down the godliness that's above the world into the world. There needs to be 7 times 7. Bringing it into every aspect until the 40th aspect, which is above the mal. When it came, however, the second luchos, which that's what was given on Yom Kippur, where we messed up, where we did something wrong, now we have to reconnect. The 40 days were all a preparation, but the actual giving of the second luchos was on one single day on Yom Kippur. Because tshuva is something that it may take time to prepare for it. It may take time to try and get there. But once a person gets there, then it's one. It's one single aspect, and that's called tshuva. Because tshuva has the ability to transform through the fact that we're reconnecting. That takes one moment because it's reconnecting to the one single source. Taking everything and reconnecting to the one single source. And as a result of this concept of tshuva that's able to be Atem Nitzavim Hayoim Kulchem, that all Jews can all stand as one. There's Roshechem, there's the heads of the tribes. There's the the wood choppers and the water carriers and everything in between. And yet all of them are able to stand as one. And that stand, the word nitzavim, means standing strong in the way that nitzav means nitzav melech, that a Jew stands and is king. He rules over the entire world, both spiritual and physical. And he becomes the one who makes the decisions in the world. And as the Rebbe says, starting from the fact that Jews are written and inscribed for a good and sweet year, not just spiritually, but down here in the physical world, in a way that we're in a level of oneness, of tshuva, where we can't even differentiate between spiritual and physical, so that the ultimate spiritual is revealed and comes down in the ultimate physical. That's the idea of tshuva, which is brought out on Rosh Hashanah and especially in Kippur. And this is the meaning of the mashal, the analogy brought before with the king with many daughters. One day, Yom Echad, one day, Bo Kulam, they all came together. The ones who are far and the ones who are close, where there's no separation between the Roshechem, Shivtechem, every single aspect. All the souls of the Jewish people, the daughters of the king, they all come to greet the king, their father, to connect to their source, Yom Echad, in the one single day, which that one single day is Yom Kippur. That Yom Kippur, where everything becomes unified and singled out as one. That's the one day, however, that's still one which is above the world. Everything unites in it through tshuva. But how does that one come into the world? Throughout Sukkot we've brought it into the world, but in order to make it become sealed in the world as one single aspect, as one single essence, for that there comes Navid Kulan Chad Yamtiv. While they're all here, with all their different aspects, and they're all here united on Yom Kippur, now we're going to make this become one by making one single holiday, one single Yamtiv, which that one single Yamtiv is Simchas Tora. That is the essence of what Simchas Tora means. And that's why it doesn't come on Shavuos. It doesn't come when we understand the Torah. It doesn't come when we can grasp and recognize, because in that there's differences, there's differentiations between one person and the next. It comes on Shmini Atzeres, after Rosh Hashanah, after Yom Kippur, when everyone became united, after Sukkot, when we brought it into the world. Then there comes a Simchas Tora, when we dance with our feet, when it becomes totally permeated until it becomes one with the world. And that's actually why this level, which is above separation, is brought down into the physical world. On Sukkot, it's brought down into the Lulav and Esrig. On Yom Kippur, it's brought down to physical fasting. And specifically on Simchas Tora, it's brought into the feet, into the dancing with the feet. That the oneness of a Jew, how all Jews are just one with their real essence, becomes something which isn't anymore above the world. That day Simchas Tora, That day Simchas Tora is not about that one day of Simchas Tora. It's about the ability now of being able to continue and to take everything that we've gotten and to bring it into a situation where there's no difference how many days went by, how many weeks went by, and even how many months went by. We can tell in everything that a Jew does in his physical world that we just came now from the one single day of Yom Kippur and Simchas Tora. We can feel it in every aspect in a way that's unchanging. Just like the Esrig, which no matter where it goes, no matter which seasons it goes, it actually grows from them. And in the same way, that oneness, that essence becomes revealed in us. And that's how the Rebbe ends up with this Yiratzin, that every single person should have this. Every single Jew should have a good, blessed year, an open and revealed good. In a way that it's physical, with children, with health, with livelihood, and in abundance in all of them. In abundance physically, in abundance spiritually, in a way of simcha v'tuv levav, with joy and a good heart, and no matter where we are. Even though we left now not only in Kippur where we were involved still with the spiritual world because we were building a sukkah. We left already Simchas Tora. We're now L'darko, Yaakov, Halach L'darko. We're on our way in the physical world. And yet in this physical world, everything is totally permeated with the essence of Hashem. And since this is coming from Simchas Tora, and Simcha, joy, breaks all boundaries. So there's no limits in how much and what it's able to do. That it comes down from the highest of the high into the lowest of the low, even in every aspect of our lives, that the galus that every person finds themselves in, which hides on the truth, is taken away. And the galus in the simple sense is taken away. The general galus, that we all come to the complete gula, and we have Mashiach who builds the Beis HaMikdash and gathers all the Jewish people all together to Yerushalayim and HaKodesh until the whole world all calls out to Hashem with that one single voice, and the kingship in a revealed way is seen to belong to Hashem.